Hey, we'll be off and running here shortly from Regina up to Edmonton. It's going to be our longest day, I think, of the whole trip tomorrow, and it's supposed to be super hot. So we're going to see how we can mitigate the heat a little bit and get started here shortly after some breakfast. We'll see you on the road.
Good morning. Hey, we're off to Edmonton, where we'll be there 3 nights. We are getting tires put on the bike and fixing anything that might be wrong with them. And that'll be a nice reprieve of all this riding. We have a really long day ahead of us, so here we go.
You may have noticed in the previous video that the sky looked a little odd. That's because wildfires in the Canadian Rockies were raging uncontrollably. Despite a valiant effort by firefighters, the fires were winning. In today's ride, we experienced this firsthand. It doesn't take long before we are riding in heavy smoke. One can smell and taste the char. We later learned that a wildfire consumed the mountain town of Jasper. Many historical structures were damaged or completely destroyed. And not to forget, houses and businesses. On July 22, 2024, a fire was reported northeast of Jasper. Just an hour and a half later, a fire was reported south of town and an evacuation was ordered. In addition, the entire park was closed. But July 24th, the fire reached the edge of town and firefighting efforts were forced to focus on saving infrastructure. By that evening, it was reported that there was significant loss to the structures in town. The worst of the fire's destruction was ending very soon, but unfortunately on August 3rd, a brave firefighter lost his life when a burning tree fell on him. By August 16th, firefighters were gaining the upper hand and residents were allowed back in the town, but areas outside of the town remained closed. Many of Jasper's landmarks were destroyed or highly damaged. The documented loss totaled $880 million and ranks as the 9th highest natural disaster loss in Canadian history. We stop off in Hanley for fuel and a break. In talking with other bikers, we learn that we'll be entered into an area where smoke is so heavy that it has reduced visibility. We were cautioned to slow up some as if we were in heavy fog. At the time, I was hoping for a change in wind to help us out. As we approach Saskatchewan, it is clear to see why they were under a smoke advisory. It is also clear that we made the right choice not to overnight here. In Saskatchewan, we turn to the northwest on Highway 16, which is also known as the Yellowhead Highway. Its namesake, Pierre Bostonnais, was a fur trader and explorer. His French nickname was Tête Jaune, or Yellowhead. Pretty funny, huh? North Battleford and Battleford lie at the confluence of the Saskatchewan and Battleford rivers. Their area has a rich indigenous history with Cree, Blackfeet, and Sioux tribes fighting for the area's resources. By the 1800s, Europeans entered the area in search of fur. Today, about 14,000 people call this place home. It's about 240 miles between North Battleford and Edmonton. We won't ride out of the smoke until we're about halfway there. Lloydminster is a unique city that straddles the Alberta and Saskatchewan provincial border. The city is incorporated in both provinces, but has a single government. The city was founded in 1903 prior to the provincial decree in 1905. Due to a surveying error and expansion, Lloydminster is a cross-border entity. We finally ride out of the smoke as we approach the village of Innisfree. This small village is in the heart of the prairie and is home to farms, gas, and oil production. This would be a great place to stop if you wanted to stay out of the major cities. It was really heating up, so we sought refuge in Vegreville for a late lunch and fuel. On our way in, we saw this park with a giant egg display and thought that would be fun to film. This giant Pysanka, or Easter egg, represents this Ukrainian-Canadian area quite well. How cool is this? That egg was really decorated beautifully and was quite intricate. And it rotated so that you could get different views of it. This was definitely a good stop for us. As we rolled into Edmonton, the heat was unbearable. If memory serves me correctly, the air temp was registering 97 degrees on our bike's display. Because of a GPS glitch, we found ourselves stuck in city traffic. Instead of cooking, we sought relief at an A&W. We must have drank a barrel of root beer each before heading to the hotel. Cooling down was the right call, and we later cruised to the hotel without heat stroke. Our final destination was St. Albert on the northwest side of Edmonton. We are staying in a hotel just across the road from where the bikes will get serviced. This was a planned stop. Here's Sherry with the day's recap.
Well, we made it to the hotel here in Edmonton, and it was a long day. We really got a little sore riding today, but beautiful scenery. There was a town called Elbow, which I thought was funny, and there's one person's yard. I didn't get to videotape it. It had like old cars that just sitting in the yard, junk, other metal junk, and then they had an airplane in their yard. So I thought that was pretty unique. Anyway, we had fun. I have my favorite candy bar here in Canada. It's called Cara Milk, Caramilk. If you ever come to Canada, be sure and try it. In the meantime, we're getting our tires changed tomorrow. It's pre-planned, and I want to show you my tire. You can see how smooth it is. So we made it. Anyway, we're tucking our bikes in for the night, and we'll be taking our bikes over to the shop, apparently just across the street in the morning. So I'll talk to you then.
Well, we had a challenge today, boy, oh boy. It was our longest day on the road and we are sore. Boy, it was just a grind all day long. But that wasn't just the only part of it. We went through almost 200 miles, or probably maybe a little over 200 miles of forest fire smoke. And it was so thick at times, it just looked like fog. It was really, really unbelievable in a sense of how thick that smoke was. And when we came out on the other side, as we got closer to Edmonton here, the temperature just started to soar. I think it topped out today at about 94, 95 degrees. So it was super hot. So before we got to the hotel, we took a little bit of refuge at one of the local restaurants to let some time pass by and cool down outside, and I think that was a good strategy. Let us get to the hotel without any problems. Well, that's it for today. Tomorrow's kind of a special day in that we're going to get the bike's tires replaced for our trip to Alaska. The ones we had just weren't going to make it, so we prearranged that. So tomorrow is get the bikes fixed up, and then the following day is a break day that we built in case there were any problems. So we'll see you tomorrow. We'll film some of that, but I might combine a couple days. We'll see you then. Take care.